The first sign something was wrong came 3 days after I lost the baby. I was still bleeding, curled up on our bed, when I heard my husband Kyle's footsteps pacing downstairs. Not coming up to check on me, just pacing. My name is Natasha, and this is the story of how I destroyed the 2 men I trusted most in the world. They deserved every second of it. I need to clear my head, Kyle announced that evening, standing in our bedroom doorway with a duffel bag already packed. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Just for a few days? I pushed myself up against the headboard, ignoring the cramping pain. Clear your head? I just lost our child. That's exactly why. He shifted his weight, checking his phone. It's too much. I can't think straight here. The bedroom door creaked open wider as my brother Aidan appeared behind Kyle, carrying his own backpack. My stomach dropped. You're going with him? Sis, you're being dramatic, Aidan said, rolling his eyes. Kyle needs this. You both do. Some space will help. I stared at them both, my military husband and my baby brother, standing there like 2 teenagers planning a spring break trip. The absurdity of it made me laugh, which seemed to unnerve them. Where are you going? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Vegas, Kyle muttered. Just a few days to decompress. Vegas, I repeated the word. With what money? Kyle wouldn't meet my eyes again. I had to dip into the emergency fund. I'll pay it back. The emergency fund we'd built together over 5 years of marriage. The fund that had just covered my hospital bills 3 days ago when I hemorrhaged in our bathroom and Kyle was too busy to drive me. You're taking our savings? To Vegas? My voice cracked. Now? Jesus, Nat, stop making him feel guilty, Aidan snapped. It's not like you need the money anymore anyway. The room went silent. Even Kyle winced. I didn't mean, Aidan started. Get out. The words came out soft, controlled. Both of you, get out of my sight. They shuffled awkwardly, Kyle mumbling something about calling when they landed. I watched them leave, listened to their footsteps on the stairs, heard the front door open and close. Only then did I let myself move. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand, hands shaking as I scrolled through my contacts. Found the number I needed. The line rang twice before a clipped voice answered. Commander Hayes speaking. I took a deep breath, smiled, even though no one could see it. Yes, Commander Hayes. I have some information you should hear about one of your officers. Who is this? I'm Kyle Harding's wife, and I think you should know he just went AWOL with 15,000 of military family support funds. There was a pause on the line. Mrs. Harding, that's a serious accusation. Oh, I know. I leaned back against the headboard, touching my still tender abdomen. And I have proof. Bank statements, text messages, everything. Would you like me to email them to you? Another pause. Yes, I would. I hung up and opened my laptop, started gathering evidence, documents, screenshots. My hands weren't shaking anymore. The pain was still there, would always be there, but something else was rising to take its place. Something cold and clear and focused. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Bonnie. Kyle just posted a boarding pass pic on Instagram. You okay? I typed back, No, but I will be. Can you help me with something? Anything, came the immediate reply. I smiled again, this time with teeth. They thought they could leave me here, bleeding and alone, while they ran off to clear their heads with our savings. They thought I would just take it, like I'd taken everything else. They were wrong. My brother always said I was too dramatic, too emotional. Kyle claimed I overthought everything, but they never realized that meant I noticed everything too. Every lie, every betrayal, every small cruelty they thought I'd forget. I didn't forget. I took notes. And now, while they played high rollers with my emergency fund, I was going to teach them exactly what happens when you abandon someone with nothing left to lose. I opened a new document and started typing. Dear Commander Hayes, as discussed, here is the documentation regarding unauthorized absence and misappropriation of funds. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served one meticulous, carefully planned detail at a time. Bonnie arrived the next morning with coffee and her laptop. She found me at the dining room table, surrounded by papers and sticky notes. "You look better," she said, setting down the coffee. "Amazing what rage can do for your complexion." I pushed a stack of bank statements toward her. "Look at these transactions from last week." She scanned the papers, frowning. "These withdrawals, they're from the military family support account." "Kyle's been skimming from it for months, small amounts at first, then bigger ones." I pointed to the latest withdrawal. "Until this lovely Vegas getaway." "That's fraud," Bonnie said, eyes widening. "Like, serious fraud." "I know, and I have a friend who'd love to hear all about it." I pulled up my phone, showing her the text exchange with Teresa, Kyle's sister. "His own sister is helping you?" Bonnie asked. "Teresa's a nurse at the base hospital. She's seen too many military wives abandoned after miscarriages. Plus," I smiled grimly, "she's always hated how Kyle treated me." My phone rang. My mother's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. "Maureen still pushing you to get over it?" Bonnie asked. "Yesterday, she suggested the stress of my job caused the miscarriage." I took a long sip of coffee. "Apparently, I should have been more mindful of my condition." "Jesus Christ!" Bonnie grabbed my hand. "You know that's not—" "I know." I squeezed her hand back. "But right now, I need to focus." My phone buzzed with a text from Teresa. "Got the documentation you sent. Command is already asking questions. Kyle's CO wants a meeting tomorrow." "Perfect," I murmured. Bonnie was scrolling through her phone. "Speaking of perfect, you might want to see this." She handed me her phone. It showed a blurry Instagram photo. Kyle in what looked like a casino, his arm around a blonde woman in a red dress. The timestamp was from last night. "Who is she?" Bonnie asked. "I don't know. Yet." I saved the photo. "But I bet Teresa can find out." My phone rang again. This time it was Aiden. I answered on speaker. "What do you want?" "Hey, sis," his voice was slurred. "Just checking in, making sure you're okay." "At 10 in the morning? How thoughtful." "Don't be like that." He hiccuped. "Kyle's really torn up about everything." "Is that why he's taking selfies with blondes?" Silence on the line. Then, "You're spying on us?" "It's not spying when it's public Instagram, little brother." I kept my voice sweet. "By the way, how did you get the time off work so quickly? I thought your company had strict leave policies." More silence. Then shuffling sounds, like he was moving somewhere private. "Look," he whispered, "I may have claimed some hardship leave. Family emergency kind of thing." "Oh, what emergency?" I might have mentioned your situation." My hand tightened around the phone. "You used my miscarriage to get vacation time?" "Nat, don't." I hung up, turned to Bonnie, who was watching me with concern. "I need you to do something for me," I said. "Remember your friend Rachel, the employment lawyer?" Bonnie nodded slowly. "Want me to give her a call?" "Please, I have some questions about fraudulent leave claims and company liability." My phone buzzed again. Another text from Teresa. "Found her. Her name's Yvette. She works at the base commissary. Want her details?" "Yes," I typed back. Then to Bonnie. "We're going to need more coffee." We spent the next few hours building what Bonnie called my revenge spreadsheet. Every transaction, every text, every lie carefully documented and categorized. The military fraud in one column, Aiden's company deception in another. A third column for the growing list of witnesses and allies. Around noon, my mother called again. "Natasha, this has to stop. she said when I finally answered. Your brother just called me crying. What are you doing? Nothing they haven't earned. They're just boys being boys. You need to stop wallowing and... Mum, I cut her off. Remember when Dad died? How you said the worst pain was feeling helpless? Yes, but... I'm not helpless anymore. And I'm not wallowing. I'm working. I hung up as Bonnie's phone chimed. She read the message and looked up at me, eyes wide. Rachel can meet us tomorrow. She says if everything you've shown me is true, we have enough for multiple complaints. Military, corporate, maybe even criminal. I nodded, adding another note to my spreadsheet. Good, because I'm just getting started. My phone lit up with another text from Teresa. Command meeting scheduled for Oros 900 tomorrow. Kyle doesn't know yet. Want me to record it? I smiled, thinking of Kyle and Aiden probably still at the blackjack tables, having no idea what was coming. Yes, I typed back. Record everything. Teresa met me at a coffee shop off base, her nurse's scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. She slid a manila envelope across the table before even sitting down. It's worse than we thought, she said, glancing around before leaning in. Kyle's been AWOL for 3 days now. No approved leave, no emergency contact. I opened the envelope, finding printed emails and military documents. He told me he had leave approved. He lied, and that's not all. Teresa pulled out her phone, showing me a text thread. Yvette's been bragging to her friends about dating an officer. Turns out she's Commander Hayes' sister. His commanding officer's sister? I almost laughed. That's actually perfect. There's more. Teresa's voice dropped lower. I did some digging in the medical records. Don't ask how. Kyle listed Yvette as his emergency contact 2 months ago. Before I lost the baby, I finished flatly. So, he was cheating even then. My phone buzzed. A text from Bonnie. You need to see this now. Attached was a screenshot from Aiden's girlfriend Paige's Instagram story. A selfie in front of the Bellagio fountains with the caption, Can't believe you flew me out here last minute. Charivari High Roller Prince on the company card. Your brother's girlfriend is there too? Teresa asked, reading over my shoulder. Apparently. I forwarded the post to Rachel, our lawyer. And she just proved he's using company money to fund it. Teresa's phone chimed. She checked it and smiled grimly. Command's preparing the paperwork now. Kyle's officially listed as unauthorized absence. They're freezing his accounts. Good. I pulled out my laptop, because I have something for them too. I opened the dossier I'd been building. Bank statements showing suspicious transfers, screenshots of Kyle's messages about dodging duty, dates of unauthorized absences, cross-referenced with casino check-ins. Send it anonymously, Teresa advised. Through me. It'll have more impact coming from inside the base. As we worked, my phone kept buzzing. Messages from my mother. Natasha, please call me. Your brother is worried sick. This isn't like you. Think about what your father would say. I ignored them all. Done, Teresa announced, closing her laptop. Command will have everything by morning. She hesitated. Are you sure about this? Once it starts, I'm sure. I showed her my phone's background, the last ultrasound picture, taken just days before everything went wrong. They left me bleeding in an emergency room to go gambling. They used my loss as their excuse to party. They deserve everything coming. My phone rang. Aiden's girlfriend, Paige. Hello? Natasha? Paige's voice was slurred, casino noise in the background. I think I messed up. What's wrong? Aiden's being weird. He keeps making calls, talking about company accounts and transfers. He said something about your dad's old business, LLC. I sat up straighter. What about it? He said he's been using it for, I don't know, tax stuff, moving money around. She hiccuped. He's really drunk and scared about something. Says people are asking questions. What people? His boss called and some lawyer? Another hiccup. He said it's your fault, that you're trying to ruin him. Are you? I thought about all the times I'd covered for Aiden growing up, all the lies I told our parents to protect him, all the money I'd lent him that he never repaid. Yes, I said simply. I am. Paige was quiet for a moment. Then, good. He's been lying to me too, about everything. After I hung up, Teresa was watching me carefully. Your brother's been embezzling? Using our dad's old LLC as a shell company. I've known for months, but never said anything. I pulled up another file on my laptop. Until now. What are you going to do? I started typing an email to Aiden's company's HR department, attaching documentation of his fraud. I'm going to remind him that Big Sister sees everything. My phone buzzed one final time that night. A text from an unknown number. This is Yvette, Kyle's girlfriend. We need to talk. I showed Teresa the message. She raised an eyebrow. What are you going to say? I thought about Kyle pacing downstairs while I bled, about Aiden calling me dramatic, about all the nights I'd cried alone while my husband was apparently with this woman. Nothing yet, I replied, saving the number. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. I closed my laptop and looked at Teresa. Want to help me freeze all the joint accounts before they try to run? She smiled, pulling out her phone. I thought you'd never ask. The first call came at 6 a.m. Kyle's voice was eerily calm. What did you do? I took a sip of coffee, letting the silence stretch. You'll have to be more specific. Commands threatening court-martial. My accounts are frozen. Even my credit cards are blocked. Sounds serious, I said. Maybe you shouldn't have gone AWOL with military funds. Did you report me? His calm cracked slightly. After everything we've been through? Everything we've been through? I laughed, surprising myself with how cold it sounded. You mean like when you left me in the ER? Or when you used our dead baby as an excuse to run off with your girlfriend? Silence on the line. Then, how did you know about Yvette? I know everything, Kyle. I always did. I just finally stopped pretending I didn't. He started to say something else, but I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. The second call came from my mother. Aiden's being investigated at work, she said without preamble. He could go to jail, Natasha. Jail. Is that what you want? What I want? I stood up, pacing my kitchen. What I want is a family that didn't abandon me when I needed them most. What I want is a brother who didn't use my miscarriage for a free vacation. What I want... Stop being so selfish, she snapped. This will ruin the family. The family was already ruined, I said quietly. You just didn't notice because I was the only one bleeding. The doorbell rang as I hung up. It was Bonnie holding a thick manila envelope. Divorce papers, she said, handing them over. But you're going to want to read who filed them. I opened the envelope. The petitioner's name made me freeze. Yvette Hayes. She's married to him? Bonnie asked. No. I flipped through the papers. These aren't divorce papers. They're a petition for financial support. She's pregnant. The room spun slightly. Bonnie grabbed my arm, leading me to the couch. That son of a bitch, she whispered. While I was losing our baby, he was making one with someone else. I looked at the date on the papers. She's 3 months along. He knew. He knew when I was in the hospital. My phone buzzed with a text from Teresa. Command hearing in progress. Kyle's here. Want me to patch you in? I typed back, yes, record everything. Bonnie set up my laptop while I connected to Teresa's video call. The screen showed a conference room where Kyle stood at attention before Commander Hayes and 2 other officers. Lieutenant Harding, Hayes was saying, can you explain these unauthorized withdrawals from the family support account? Sir, I can explain. Can you also explain your unauthorized absence, your failure to report, the misuse of military resources? Kyle's posture stiffened. Sir, I was dealing with a family emergency. You mean my sister's pregnancy? Hayes's voice could have frozen hell. Or your wife's miscarriage that you abandoned. The colour drained from Kyle's face. I watched him crumble in real time as Hayes laid out every piece of evidence, every violation, every lie. By the end, Kyle was practically swaying on his feet. Your conduct is unbecoming of an officer, Hayes concluded. You're suspended pending investigation. Surrender your credentials on your way out. As Kyle turned to leave, Hayes added, And, Lieutenant, stay away from my sister. I disconnected the call just as my phone rang again. Aiden. They're going to fire me, he said without greeting. They know about Dad's LLC, the fake expense reports, everything. How did they find out? Maybe Paige's Instagram posts about your company-funded Vegas trip weren't as subtle as you thought. This isn't funny, he was crying now. I could go to prison. Should have thought about that before using my miscarriage as your cover story. I'm your brother. No, I said softly. Brothers don't do what you did. Brothers protect their sisters. You chose Kyle over me. Now you can share his consequences. I hung up and turned to Bonnie, who was still reading through Yvette's papers. What now? She asked. My phone buzzed with an email notification. The military spouse support forum I'd contacted wanted to interview me about abandoned wives and accountability in the ranks. Now, I said, opening my laptop, we make sure everyone knows exactly what happens when they think they can get away with anything. They'll call you vindictive, Bonnie warned. Say you went too far. I thought about the ultrasound picture still in my wallet, about bleeding alone in an emergency room, about Kyle making a new family while ours died, about Aiden using my pain for a vacation. Good, I said, starting to type. Let them. The military spouse forums exploded overnight. Teresa had helped me post anonymously, sharing screenshots of Kyle's infractions, his abandonment, and his affair with Yvette. Within hours, it spread to other bases, other forums, other commands. They're calling it the Vegas deserter story, Teresa told me over the phone. Command is furious. This kind of publicity... Good, I said, scrolling through the comments. Let them see what happens when they ignore men like Kyle. My doorbell rang. I opened it to find Yvette standing there, mascara streaked down her face. You ruined everything, she said, pushing past me into the house. Kyle's career, our future, your future. I closed the door calmly. You mean the one you built while I was losing my baby? She flinched. I didn't know about that. Not at first. When did you know? The night he got the call. She sank onto my couch. He was with me when you went to the ER. He said he couldn't deal with it, needed space. So you gave him space in your bed? He said you were smothering him. She stood up again, pacing. That you were too emotional, too needy. I was pregnant, the words exploded out of me. With his child. And now what? You think you'll do better? Her hand went to her stomach protectively. I already am. 3 months and everything's perfect. My phone buzzed. A text from Commander Hayes. Just saw the forums. This ends now. Kyle's facing dishonourable discharge. I showed Yvette the message. Looks like your perfect future just got complicated. She started to respond when both our phones chimed with notifications. Someone had leaked Kyle's personnel file to the base's social media groups. Every infraction, every lie, every misused fund laid bare. Teresa? I texted quickly. Not me, she replied. Command did it. They're making an example of him. Yvette was reading the posts, her face getting paler. He said he had permission for the money, that it was his right. He lied, I said simply. That's what Kyle does. He lies and runs and leaves others to bleed. My phone rang. Aiden again. They fired me, he choked out. And Paige told them everything about the LLC scam, about using Dad's name. Karma's interesting, isn't it? This isn't karma, he shouted. This is you, my own sister. My own brother, I countered. Who used my pain for a Vegas trip? How's that working out? He hung up. Moments later, my mother called. Aiden's at my house crying, she said. He says you destroyed his life. No, Mom, he destroyed his own life. I just made sure everyone saw him do it. And Kyle? His career? Was that necessary? I looked at Yvette still scrolling through the devastating posts. Ask his pregnant girlfriend. She's sitting on my couch right now. Silence. Then, his what? Goodbye, Mom. Yvette was gathering her purse, heading for the door. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I opened the door for her. Kyle's finished. Your brother made sure of that. And you're just collateral damage in Kyle's pattern of destruction. Good luck with that baby. Hope he sticks around longer than he did for mine. After she left, I called Bonnie. It's done, I said. Kyle's career is over. Aiden's fired. The truth is everywhere. How do you feel? I touched my stomach, remembering. Empty, but clearer. My phone buzzed with another text from Teresa. Kyle just tried to access the last joint account, the one you froze yesterday. I smiled. Let me guess. He needs escape money? Bingo. He's desperate. Commands considering criminal charges for the fund misuse. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Aiden, eyes wild and red. You did this, he said, trembling in my doorway. Why the hell would you do this to your own brother? I studied him. My little brother who I'd protected our whole lives, who I'd lied for, covered for, bailed out countless times, who left me bleeding to party with my husband. Because you stopped being my brother the moment you chose Kyle over me. The moment you used my dead baby as your excuse to party. I didn't. Get out, I said quietly. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. Go deal with your consequences. He started to say something else, but I closed the door. Locked it. Leaned against it until I heard his footsteps fade away. My phone chimed one last time that night. A message from Commander Hayes. Justice isn't always pretty, Mrs. Harding, but sometimes it's necessary. Thank you for bringing this to light. Kyle won't hurt anyone else in our ranks again. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and began typing. To whom it may concern. My name is Natasha, and this is what happens when you abandon someone with nothing left to lose. The memory hit me as I was cleaning out Kyle's closet. Aiden, at 12, hiding behind me as our father raged about a broken window. It was me, I'd said, stepping in front of my brother. I did it. The slap had stung, but Aiden's whispered, "Thanks, sis," had made it worth it. My phone buzzed, yanking me back to the present. Kyle. Please, he sobbed, not even saying hello. They're pressing charges, criminal charges. I can't. I need help. Like I needed help in the ER? That's not fair. Fair? I pulled one of his uniforms from the closet. Was it fair when you were with Yvette while I was losing our baby? When you took our savings to Vegas? When you made my brother choose between us? I made mistakes, he whispered. Horrible mistakes. But you've destroyed everything. No, Kyle, you destroyed everything. I just made sure everyone saw the ruins. I hung up as Bonnie let herself in with her spare key. She found me surrounded by Kyle's uniforms. What are you doing? Spring cleaning. I tossed another uniform into the pile. Want to help me burn these? She picked up a medal. You sure about this? My phone buzzed with a text from Aidan. Remember when you covered for me after Dad's car got dented? You said that's what sisters do. What changed? Everything changed, I muttered, showing Bonnie the text. You protected him a lot, didn't you? I nodded, another memory surfacing. 16-year-old Aidan drunk at prom. Me picking him up at 2 a.m, telling our parents he was staying at a friend's. Every time, I said. Every single time he needed me, I was there. And when you needed him? My phone rang. My mother. Aidan's being investigated for fraud, she said. They're looking at Dad's old business records. Good. Good? He's your brother. Was my brother, I corrected. The brother I protected died the moment he chose Vegas over me. You were always so dramatic, she sighed, always taking things too personally. Like my miscarriage? My voice cracked. Was that too personal, Mum? Silence. You know what I remember? I continued. When I called you from the hospital, know what you said? These things happen. Like I'd lost a phone, not a baby. Natasha, and when Kyle and Aidan left, you told me to stop wallowing, to think of them. Well, I did think of them. I thought of every lie, every betrayal, every time they took advantage of my protection. Bonnie touched my arm, concerned, but I couldn't stop. So, yes, Mum, Aidan's being investigated. Kyle's facing charges. Their lives are falling apart and I'm not protecting them anymore. I hung up as Teresa called. Kyle just tried to access his military email, she said. They've revoked all his credentials. He's officially suspended pending court-martial. How's Yvette taking it? She's not. Left base yesterday? Apparently, she's reconsidering her options. My phone buzzed with another text from Aidan. They're questioning Paige about the company cards. She's telling them everything. Please, sis, make it stop. I showed Bonnie the text. She raised an eyebrow. Will you? No. I picked up Kyle's dress uniform. Want to help me with something? We carried the uniforms to the backyard fire pit. As we laid them out, my phone rang again. Kyle. Yvette left, he said, voice hollow. She's talking about terminating. Says she can't handle the scandal. I thought about our baby, the one we'd lost, the one he'd abandoned. Karma's funny that way, I said and hung up. Bonnie handed me the lighter. You sure about this? I struck the flame, watching it dance. They thought I was dramatic, emotional, too intense. I touched the flame to the first uniform. They never realised those qualities make for excellent revenge. As the uniforms burned, my phone lit up with texts. From Mum. Please stop this. From Aidan. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. From Kyle. I love you. I always loved you. I turned off my phone and watched the flames rise. You know what the worst part is, I told Bonnie. I would have forgiven them if they'd just stayed, if they'd just chosen me once. She hugged me as the uniforms turned to ash. Their loss. Yes, I said, thinking of all the times I'd protected them, defended them, loved them despite everything. Their loss entirely. The flames rose higher, consuming the last pieces of my old life, my old loyalties. In their light, I finally felt warm again. The military advocacy blog interview went viral within hours. When the uniform becomes a shield, a military wife's story of abandonment and justice spread across social media like wildfire. They're calling you a hero, Bonnie said, reading the comments. Other wives are coming forward with similar stories. I was packing Kyle's remaining things into boxes when Teresa called. It's official, she said. Dishonourable discharge. Command made the announcement this morning. How's he taking it? Not well. He tried to blame Yvette, said she manipulated him. She responded by sending Command their entire text history. My phone buzzed with another call. Commander Hayes. Mrs. Harding, he said when I answered. I owe you an apology. We should have taken action sooner. Yes, you should have. We're implementing new protocols, support systems for military spouses, stricter oversight of family funds. He paused. Your story, it's changing things. After I hung up, Bonnie showed me a news alert. Tech firm faces investigation following whistleblower reports. Aidan's company photo was featured prominently. He's going to lose everything, my mother said, walking into my house uninvited. Both of them are. Are you happy now? I continued packing boxes. You still don't get it, do you? Get what? That you're destroying our family? That they destroyed it first. I turned to face her. Where were you when I was in the hospital, when I needed my mother? I didn't know how to help. No, you didn't. Because helping meant acknowledging something was wrong. That your precious son and his best friend were monsters. My phone buzzed. A text from Paige. Aidan's being charged with fraud. I'm testifying against him. I'm sorry it took me so long to see who he really was. I showed my mother the text. See? Even his girlfriend figured it out. He's still your brother. No, I said quietly. He stopped being my brother the moment he chose Kyle over me, just like you stopped being my mother when you chose them over me. She left in tears. I didn't stop her. Teresa called again. Kyle's trying to sell his story to some tabloids, playing victim. Let him try, I said. I have receipts for everything. My phone lit up with a message from Yvette. I lost the baby. Natural causes. Karma, I guess. I'm leaving town. You won. I didn't respond. Some victories don't need acknowledgement. Bonnie helped me carry Kyle's boxes to my car. We were taking them to Goodwill when Aidan appeared in my driveway. They're pressing charges, he said, looking broken. Federal charges for the LLC fraud. I know. Dad's name. They're investigating everything connected to his business. You should have thought about that before using our dead father's company for your Vegas fund. He stepped closer, desperate. Remember when we were kids? How you always protected me? I remember everything, I said. Every lie I told for you. Every time I covered your mistakes. Every moment I put you first. I opened my car door. That's how I knew exactly where to strike. Please, he whispered, I'm your little brother. No, I said, getting in the car. You're just another man who thought he could hurt me without consequences. As we drove away, Bonnie asked, Do you ever regret it? Going nuclear? I thought about the ultrasound picture, still in my wallet. About the hospital room, the bleeding, the loneliness. They thought I was too emotional, I said. Too dramatic. Too much. They never realised those qualities made me dangerous. My phone rang one last time that day. Kyle, I'm leaving town, he said, moving back home to my parents. I just wanted you to know. Goodbye, Kyle. That's it? After everything you did, I corrected. This isn't a love story, Kyle. It's a revenge story. And you're not the hero. I hung up as we pulled into Goodwill. Bonnie helped me unload the boxes, his uniforms, his medals, his life reduced to donations. What now? She asked as my phone buzzed with another notification. The Military Spouse Forum wanted me to speak at their next support group meeting. Now, I said, I help other women find their power, their voice. I smiled. Their revenge, if necessary. We drove home in silence, but it wasn't the heavy silence of grief anymore. It was the quiet of aftermath, of justice served, of peace finally found in the wreckage. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just serving justice, it's surviving to tell the story. The realtor handed me the keys to my new house with a smile. It needs some work, but The bones are good. I looked at the small fixer-upper on the outskirts of town. My fresh start. Far from the base, far from memories, far from them. Perfect, I said, taking the keys. Bonnie pulled up with the first load of boxes as my phone rang. Teresa. Kyle's gone, she said. Left for his parents' place this morning. But that's not why I'm calling. Oh, Command's implementing those new protocols we discussed. They want you to consult, help build better support systems for military spouses. I smiled, unlocking my new front door. Send me the details. Bonnie followed me inside with a box. How does it feel? Like freedom. My phone buzzed with a text from Paige. Aidan took a plea deal. 5 years probation, full restitution. He's moving back in with your mum. Good, I said, showing Bonnie. Let him feel what dependence really means. A letter arrived as we were unpacking, handwritten from Teresa. Dear Natasha, we can't pick our family, but sometimes we still get to choose who to protect. You protected others by exposing Kyle. You protected yourself by standing up. I'm proud to call you my sister, not by blood, but by choice. Love, Teresa. I pinned it to my new fridge as Bonnie opened another box. Oh, she said softly, pulling out the ultrasound picture I'd kept. Do you want to... Keep it, I said. Some memories deserve to stay, even if they hurt. My phone rang again. My mother. Aidan's home, she said. He's different, quiet, scared. Good. Maybe he'll learn something. He asks about you. Says he understands now what real consequences feel like. I looked around my new house. Empty walls waiting for new memories, clean floors ready for fresh steps. Mum, I said, I'm not coming back. Not to him, not to any of it. I know. She paused. I understand now too. Too late, but I understand. After we hung up, Bonnie and I continued unpacking. Each box emptied felt like releasing another piece of the past. Holy shit, Bonnie said suddenly, staring at her phone. Your military spouse blog post. It's being turned into a documentary about accountability in the armed forces. I smiled, remembering Commander Hayes' words about changing things. The doorbell rang. A delivery, flowers from the military spouse support group. Thank you for giving us a voice. As I put them in water, something felt off. I checked my calendar, counted days, then counted again. Bonnie, I said slowly, I'm late. She froze. Like, late. I touched my stomach, feeling something I hadn't felt since before. I need you to go to the store, I whispered. She returned with 3 pregnancy tests, all positive. Are you okay? She asked as I stared at the lines. I thought about Kyle, about Yvette's lost baby, about karma and cycles and new beginnings. Yes, I said, surprising myself by meaning it. This time is different. This time I'm stronger. My phone buzzed. An email from the military advocacy group. Your story has inspired policy changes across 3 bases. When can you start consulting? I replied one-handed, other hand still on my stomach. Immediately. These changes matter more than ever now. Bonnie hugged me. You're going to be amazing. We're going to be amazing, I corrected. This baby will have the best aunt ever. As the sun set on my first day in the new house, I sat on my porch, watching the neighbourhood quiet down. My phone lit up with one final text from Commander Hayes. Justice comes in many forms. Sometimes it's punishment. Sometimes it's change. Sometimes it's a fresh start. You've achieved all 3. Well done, Natasha. I smiled, touching my stomach again. The universe has a strange sense of humour, taking one life while creating another, ending old chapters while writing new ones. This time, I whispered to my barely there baby, we protect each other, No more covering for those who hurt us. No more sacrificing ourselves for others' comfort. Bonnie called from inside. Where do you want these baby books? I definitely didn't just order online. I laughed. A real laugh. Maybe my first since everything happened. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying others. Sometimes it's about rebuilding yourself stronger, smarter, fiercer. Sometimes the best revenge is living well, living true, living free. And sometimes, when you least expect it, life gives you a second chance to do it right. This time, I was ready.